What's going on, everybody? Adachi here, and we got some new updates, but I just briefly glimpsed over all of it, and it's not much, but it is a little concerning. Besides lack of communication problems, which have been plenty, even here in these notes, I'll just go ahead and fast forward to, what is it? These patch notes right here. Fast forward to the end. They're very not specific about any of these fixes and whatnot. Like this one right here, it says fixed abnormal enemy buffs for Doki Doki stage in Threshold. What they did was they changed the buffs that they got, the increasing damage buffs. They changed it from whatever it is, like blue to yellow, which means that it can't be dispelled, and now Chiata can't steal the buff, which I'm not I don't have a big problem with that. It did seem a little overtuned, but they should be a lot more specific about details like that, because nowhere would you know that if you owned Chiata here. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at what we actually have to see in the new patch notes. And first up are the new events. They have a little event timeline here. This is at least highlighting the next couple of weeks of events. First starting off with the Chaku Ring Adventure. And in that same week, we are getting the Cyber Shadows event and the Cubic Game event. I don't remember if... I've already forgotten the names of most of these events. I don't remember if we've already had this or if I played this in the beta. At least these two right here. But just more events. The less exciting one to see, I guess less so this one. We're gonna be having Cubic Game rerunning here next week, which this one isn't as big of a problem with me. I think it actually has some interactive elements to it, and it's actually it's almost like an actual event since there's actual combat in there to go ahead and get rewards. The bigger problem I have is with the next week, June 26th. So in 2 weeks, we're getting a rerun of Candy Party and Shell Story. Shell Story being the little dice event where you collected the 7 Dragon Balls, as they called it in the details there, and the Candy Party event with the real Mocha one. How the fuck are we rerunning these events that just happened last week? This is insane. The game just launched. We're less than 2 weeks into the game, and we're already rerunning these barely interactable events. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me, especially because when I played GGM, and I know I compare them a lot. I mean, they're made by the same, development team, whatever it is they do there, and they have a lot of these similar things where they have these artistic events where they're essentially the same rewards for the most part, but they interact and they play a lot differently. They have completely different assets. And I never really ran into a problem of them having to rerun these, especially not in the first few weeks. So that's just super crazy to me. I really enjoy and I really like the game, but it really makes me confused and wonder what the fuck is going on with the dev team and what they're doing with this game, honestly. All right, we're gonna try to recoup and go on to some more positive notes. We have 2 new banners coming. With the patch coming out tomorrow. So after tonight's reset, these should be live. We've got 2, and they're both going to be RGB. I guess we're not going to have any LD rate up banners going on whatsoever, which, sure, fine. It is interesting to see 2 RGBs come out at the same time, though. It's going to be a little hard on the free-to-plays, but I can only say my recommendation is pick the one you like or the one that you think is going to help you the most, and probably go for that and not go for both. Hopefully they'll get added into the pool, and then you can try and hopefully get the other one down the road. But we have Hoyan, who is going to be a green unit, and we have Holden, who is going to be red, I believe. Which I don't believe that either of their kits are actually listed in the patch notes, but they did already release the Animus videos, thank God, which show all the details. And just looking at the gear off rip, you can see he definitely wants to build defense. We got the full set of Unbreakable, we got Bramble and Coloss Guard. A lot of defense and counter, so definitely going to be playing around with that. The first up is S1. It is going to be a 3-hitter with damage scaling off of his defense by 110% of his defense. Very good there, and each hit has a chance, a very small chance, but a chance to inflict defense break. Do know that these are most likely, in fact, I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed, these are all listed at max, so this is going to be the max rate at 20% here on the S1. And then he has a passive at the start of battle. For every 500 defense he possesses, increases his counterattack rate by 10% and final damage by 5%. And then right here, I just went and pulled up somebody's Rahu, you know, in the speed clears for Doki, so we can get a decent idea of how much defense we'd be looking at right now, which is about 2,900, almost 3K. And then looking back here with 6K defense, that's about 60% chance for countering, and then an additional 30% of final damage dealt. That's a pretty dang good boost right there. I just went back to check the stats that they were showing off. Their defense is actually really shit, but their HP is really high. And they have decent crit and decent crit damage. Very interesting build there. Looking at the S2, this one I think is really cracked. I've read all these kits like the other night, so I have like a general idea of what they are, but I'm getting a refresher here. I do remember that I thought that this one would be 100% cracked for PvP. So on a single target, does some big boy damage to one enemy, and is a 100% chance to push back target's turn meter by 100%. He basically says a big fuck you to one person and maximize their skill cooldowns. That's nasty. In PvP, that basically says fuck you, take a day off. You're not doing shit for a while now. And now on to the big boy S3. This is going to be an AoE 2-hitter, doing 180% of his defense, so I believe a bit less than his... I wish they chaptered this out. Yeah, significantly less than his S2, so the S2 is going to be a huge nuke. The S3 is definitely going to be more for the supporting effects. And each hit is going to have a 50% chance to dispel one buff, just one, but still, and inflict 2-turn attack break and a resistance break, which is effect resistance. And if it lands a crit, the chance to apply these effects specifically is doubled, which is interesting. It basically means that the S3 in itself is self-sustaining as far as landing any of its stuff goes, but when it comes to his other skills, it's not going to be the case, especially because of how low those rates are, like the S1. The S1 only having a 20% chance, meaning that with the effective caps in the game, it can only reach a peak of 40%, so effect hit rate doesn't seem to be a huge build that you want to do on him. Overall, I think he's going to be a pretty nasty unit. He's definitely one that I'm probably going to be pulling for here. He's going to make you a lot more durable with the attack down. The resistance break is going to be nice if you aren't running Marvel in your PvP or it gets banned or whatever. The dispelling is decent, but the defense scaling and the counterattacks, I think those are where he's really going to shine. So I think that he's going to be definitely very strong there, and Hoyan is definitely as well. All right, looking at Hoyan, she is again green, and looking at her S1, it's going to be a 2-hit single target. Just doing some damage with a 25% chance of anti-heal for 2 turns. It's going to be nice for a lot of these like tankier comps, especially a lot of people who love to throw in. I've seen a lot in RTA, Sanya, super annoying. People like to draft Sanya and Ling Luo, and they're both pretty rough for a lot of other reasons, but the healing is definitely a harder part when you're trying to cleave through it. For S2, this is going to be a passive. It is a little cut off here, but luckily I still have old notes about her. Which also very interesting that she was like disabled in the beta and completely like kept out of the game, and they had all this cryptic shit around her only to release her as like a completely regular character. It seemed very, I don't know, unnecessary showmanship to just drop her like this. She also doesn't seem to have like changed whatsoever really. Here, S2 is when she would die, she'll heal 60% of her HP, and then she'll use her S3 on the target that would have killed her, and this is going to be on a 4-turn cooldown. If she kills the target, she will revive an ally based on the damage that she dealt to that enemy, and then the enemy cannot revive, so similar mechanic to Chloros. And then every time the passive would trigger, she gets 1 stack of Fleeting Glance, which gives her a 40% attack buff, and it can't be dispelled. And we can see here that the Fleeting Glance is capping at 3 stacks, so yeah, again, completely unchanged from what I have written down of her old S2. I think of her old S1 as well, but yeah, she's gonna be absolutely nuts. She not only says you can't kill me, but I kill you and I bring back somebody. Completely bonkers. I do think that though, if she's CC'd, that she wouldn't be able to pop this off. So I think dealing with her is you're definitely gonna need to be some heavy CC. Kazuya won't cut this. And then on to her S3. Interesting that none of her stuff is AoE, all single target, so big nukes there. She'll consume 50% of her current HP, not her max, to deal a 480% damage onto a single target, ignoring a 6.5% defense for every 10% max HP loss, so it's definitely just going to do a lot more damage every time she's able to proc her passive. So definitely going to be menaces in PvP, but I'm more interested in how these characters are actually going to work in PvE and how good they're going to be there. I think Hoyan being able to stop, you know, dying and then reviving, as well as doing some big damage, is going to be very good. Holden should be a monster in his own right, stacking defense, countering like a madman, attack breaking, you know, it's all pretty good. And then, oh yeah, then the turn knockback on the S2, at least when it comes to single target situations, I think he should definitely be very strong, very good. And because it is such a high like turn knockback, I think it'd actually be pretty decent for Terror. Alright, so those are the characters. They are going to be going on for 12 days, not quite 2 weeks, but 12 days. It is interesting, and I guess we'll see come the 26th. What's going to happen there? I assume they might drop a new LD. They're definitely seeming to drop characters pretty quick if this is how like fast the turnaround on like new characters is going to be. But I do think that with all of the events in one, and especially if you're not like pulling like mad and you're stockpiling, and with the events giving out all the tickets, I think you're gonna get like actually a decent amount each time when these banners come out. So even if you were to like say skip every other character, you'd probably be able to guarantee at least one character every patch cycle. I guess we'll wait and see if they're going to drop 2 new characters every single time. 1, I'd be curious, how the fuck are they doing that? And 2, seems a bit silly if they do that and they just keep diluting the pool with all of these different characters. If they're going to be doing 2 every couple of weeks, that would be 4 every month, you know, and seeing how hard it is to build out characters, especially build them out competitively, I think it may be a little too much, a little too fast. I mean, even whales can only get so many perfect lattices in, you know, the packs and whatnot. They're also going to be getting outfits coming out with them. I assume these are probably just going to be recolors again, and I don't mind recolors, but paid recolors are like, how much are they? They're like 10, 12 bucks? It's insane. What the fuck? At least I could understand if you like made an entirely like new outfit for them, but you're just tweaking some fucking Q scalers and then slapping a price tag on it. Crazy. And then Guild War, it should, or at least the screen should have opened up for Guild War starting today. It says that in 3 days from today, on the 16th, that it will be launched server-wide, and then they will be running Guild Wars on a weekly basis. And popping into here on my screen shows that we have 21 hours until combat phase begins. But I think our leader also sent us a like screenshot that there is no like option to register or anything, so I'm wondering if it's bugged or maybe you can't register until we get closer to this time. Who knows? We'll see, I guess, when we see. Then down here in the rest of the patch notes, read these, you know, at your own discretion. There's a bunch of bug fixes. Unfortunately, you're not really going to be able to figure out all of the details when you look at these. Like I said earlier when I mentioned the Doki change, which is also interesting because they also had a fixed up problem with Chiata here. But at least this one has like some details to it. They're just pretty whack patch notes in general. And that is about all for the news in the patch notes. We do have these couple new events like the Dazzler Pulse here. We had this in the beta. I do remember this one at least. Just make sure that you're getting your daily clear entries here, getting your stuff out of the shop. You can see I went for stamina and then pulls first. I'm turning around on pulls. I'm stockpiling them, and whenever I can get them, I get them. But also there wasn't a whole lot else for me to get. I think I'm going to go for SR Lattice next, because as we're pushing into Hell 4 and into Inferno, there's so many other like niche units that could use a lot of skill ups. So I'm starting to change my mind on SR Lattices. I think these are actually really high value. And then we have Infinity Train, which is fucking hard. Where you can only take blue, dark, and light units with special exceptions for Leanne and for Freya. Freya, definitely a monster, a beast here. But yeah, this mode's tough. Actually, let's see, what kind of teams have people had here? Only 2 people have gotten to triple S, which I assume is all the waves cleared. Yep, all the waves cleared. And double S, looks like the cutoff for double S is at 21. I think the closest I've gotten was like 15, which is like B rank, so I definitely got a lot of work to go here. But it seems like, yeah, Chiata is going to be a big play here. Interesting though, there is a Messiah team that, holy shit. Yeah, that was at triple S. Messiah, Lily, Freya, Marvel, Ling Luo. Damn, Grandy, you're crazy. This is a pretty standard, solid, really good team that is not utilizing Chiata, who seems to be really strong and completely built for this mode. Oh, and Maz. I feel so bad. I definitely, unless there's another person with this name, I don't know if it's from streaming or a video game we've played together, but Maz is definitely a name that I know. But I stopped on this one just because I was like, oh wow, that's a pretty crazy clear team right there. They have Obel, and they have Lily, Rosa, Lingluo, and Valerian on wave 23. That's pretty wild. Big ups there. And then Champions Call. Fuck, I failed my prediction, and I burned gems on that one too. This team did lose. Damn, how the hell did they lose to this team? Can you watch it? Oh, you can watch these too. Okay, so this event is the betting events. I think I like briefly brought it up in like my original Etheria restart video. But I didn't realize that actually any of this mattered. I thought it was completely random. But it actually does have like simulated battles for all of these. You can only bet twice a day. And before like the next tournament starts, you can also bet on who you think is going to win it all at the start. I don't know what you get for that because I never actually predicted correctly. But yeah, so if you really care about these rewards and you really want to put your gems on the line, you know, really analyze these teams. I really thought that the Shadow Sonya team really wasn't going to have much juice, but I guess just Lilith goes fucking nuts with all the stuns. And extra, oh my god, look at those extra turn procs. It's like a fucking 6% rate on that S1. Yeah, this is a neat mode. Maybe don't be like me and bet gems. I'm gonna just bet gold this time. I'm betting on my girl Lilith last time. I bet against her last time. I saw the Hyenas going before the hell code, so we'll see. We'll see if that is enough to put a stop to them. But yeah, I think that's all of the news there. The biggest thing that really just kind of threw a red flag in my direction, though, are these repeated events here. Again, it just blows my mind how they're going to repeat events that just happened a week ago. It's weird. Oh, and I think this pretty much guarantees we're not getting the double drop rate events. Now, it's not like they ever said we were going to get it, but I think the expectation was there from the beta, and at the very least, they could have at least confirmed that it wasn't going to happen. Again, looking into GGM, they're actually like pretty communicative about like a lot of these things, and like one example was this event that came around once in a while, which was like essentially there were like these pets, and they were really big stat boosts. And there was specifically like one event where if you pulled enough, you could guarantee you get a certain pet. And they were very like openly saying like, we would like to get this at this point in time, but we aren't able to. So we're going to shoot for a later time. But it was just, you know, it's just like addressing the community and, you know, assuaging any concerns, which hasn't really happened here as far as I know. I think it's all just been like random little bits and messages in the Discord with the community manager. It's not like there's been any big announcements or anything. So yeah, that's about it. On ending on a positive note, I am looking forward to participating into the Guild War, and I am looking forward to the new characters tomorrow. I'm looking forward to pulling them. I definitely can't build them, but you know, I will love to add them to my accounts so that way I can eventually utilize them in PvP. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. But until the next time, take care, and I'll see you.